We're going to open up with prayer. Anytime you see this man, we're going to have prayer this morning by Reverend Wendell Anthony.
Let us pause. God of our fathers and mothers, we give you thanks and praise for life. We thank you for the sacrifices that have been made for us through generations past. We thank you for us having the boldness to come now in the midst of the crisis that has gripped our nation and the world. But we don't come empty-handed. We come with the force of those who have come before us, who did much more with much less. We who have much more are expected to do much more than that. Bless us now as we come together to speak truth to power, to lift up the people, to lift up a direction by which we might travel to make life better, not just for us, but for all. Hear our prayer, O Lord. Hear our prayer. Incline thine ears to us. In the name of that revolutionary example, Jesus the Christ, do we pray. Let everybody that loves God say amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you for gracing us with that prayer. We're going to bring you back, of course. I want to open up the House, this meeting this morning, with our Council President, Mary Sheffield. We are in the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center in front of the bust of Coleman A. Young, and she is the president in this building. Please, Council President Mary Sheffield, please give us opening remarks.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It is an honor to be here. Thank you so much to our leader, Sherry Gay Dagnobo. Can we give her a round of applause? And I know she doesn't like recognition, but she is an exceptional leader who is always pulling us together for such important reasons. And it always shows that we are stronger, united, and that we can achieve more if we collectively come together to address the concerns of our community. So we thank Sherry for her leadership. To all of the elected officials that are here today, I want to thank you as well for your work, for your advocacy on behalf of your constituencies to really elevate the quality of life for our communities. I thank you all. Today I stand in solidarity with each and every one of you, the Michigan Legislative Black Caucus, who has relentlessly and tirelessly advocated for the needs and priorities of the African American community across our state. They have introduced meaningful and impactful legislation that seeks to address a myriad of issues that directly impact our communities. We're talking about auto insurance reform, educational reform, economic empowerment for our Black entrepreneurs. And so these are the issues that we believe are important that must be addressed. And yet, despite their dedication and their consistent efforts to elevate the quality of life for our communities, in having a shift in power in Lansing, too many of these bills have sat without action. Amen. And so we are collectively coming here today to demand that the Michigan Legislature, the 102nd legislator, act with decisive action and with urgency to move these bills forward. Yes. All right, moving forward. This inaction is not just a procedural delay, it is a failure to address the critical issues that affect the lives, the futures in entire communities. We cannot allow this legislative body in this session to close without addressing the urgent priorities that have been laid out by my fellow elected officials that are here today. Families that are struggling to pay high auto insurance premiums cannot wait. Children in underfunded schools cannot wait. Black entrepreneurs that are facing systemic barriers cannot wait. And those that are calling for justice in our neighborhoods around public safety cannot wait. And so this is not just a political agenda. I believe that this is a moral obligation. Yes. The policies that we are urging are solutions to the long-standing issues of injustices that have disproportionately affected Black communities around our country in this community. And so this lame duck session offers a unique opportunity for the outgoing Democratic majority to leave a lasting legacy of progress and equity. So welcome you all here today. Let's stand united. Let's move forward as one to get these bills passed. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you so much, Council President. I just want to be clear in the reason that we're here this morning. Our Council President has pretty much laid it out. But you all know that we are 20 days out 20 days out from the presidential election. All of us in this room, I believe, wish for a different outcome. But we have what we have. And we know that there is a changing of the guards in Lansing and in Washington, D.C. I want to be clear that we celebrate the historical investments in our community with appreciation by our appropriations chair in the House, which is Donovan McKinney, Rep. Donovan McKinney that is here. He's worked hard. Our chairwoman in the Senate, Appropriations Chairwoman Sarah Anthony, who could not be here today, but she is continuing to fight. And they have made historical investments in African American organizations, and so we applaud them.
That's right.
We are, in fact, here to support them. We have Senator Sylvia Santana, also chair of the Michigan MDHHS, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. And I'm going to have her come, but these 20 days that we stand here today, of course, our heart laments. But we have former members here that you will also hear from today because we have worked on many of these issues for years. Years. And we were told, wait until we get the gavel. Wait until we get the gavel. And so now we feel abandoned. We feel disrespected because they've had the gavel. And why are we at this last moment, right before lame duck, with the inability to move these bills forward? So I'm going to bring Senator Sylvia Santana to speak to some of the package of bills that have been submitted to the leadership in our state. We're not here to bash, but we're here to talk facts. And too many people in this room and in our community is struggling to pay high auto insurance, high utility bills. We have our criminal justice reform community that is here. Too many of our family members are continue to be oppressed. And if we would address the package of bills that Senator Santana will speak to, we would have some redress to deal with a number of these issues. So these are not bills, new bills we're talking about. This is a package of bills that already exist. Senator Santana.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be here, although we're coming together at this last juncture of the legislature going into a lame duck process. And I would just have to level set the conversation here. When we took to the majority, a trifecta after 40 plus years of being under Republican control, you would anticipate that each issue that we brought to the legislature would actually be at the forefront of the issues that we would have brought up at the onset of our legislative process. However, that did not happen. And now we're here today as African Americans who represent the largest Black community in the state of Michigan, fighting for issues that matter to our community. Water affordability, an issue that impacts so many people in our state. I've knocked on people's doors and asked for their vote, and they're asking me to help get their water turned back on because they did not have water at their home to bathe their children. And then they come to DHHS department, and CPS is coming to their home because they cannot afford their water. They have to buy water bottles. That is a shame. It is a shame that our people have to go through that. We should not have that happening. Other policies that we have tried to put in place, the Family Leaves Act, so that our folks who work in service industries and industries that do not necessarily support respite care for people who are taking care of their loved ones have the ability to be able to take a day off with pay without having to have the struggle or worry about their job at the end of the day. These are issues that matter to our community. 1 in 6 people in the state of Michigan has a felony on their record. 1 in 3 in the city of Detroit.
Come on now.
Again, 1 in 3 in the city of Detroit, so that's every third person has a felony on their record. We are trying to uplift policies in Michigan to make sure that those individuals who have offended can come back to society whole and that they can be rehabilitated. These are all issues that matter to our communities. And there is a number of packages of bills that we have introduced in the legislature that matter to our communities. Maternal health, making sure that our moms can meet their birthdays for their children, make sure that they're not losing their child because we haven't put the proper resources in place. Now that's over my department, so I do everything imaginable in the DHHS budget to make sure that we are supporting our communities. This is very important to the people right here in the city of Detroit. So I'm not going to belabor, but I'm going to tell you this. We need our House members. Donovan's here. We need House members to put their partisan politics aside, especially on the majority side, and make sure that they show up to work to do their job.
Yes.
Show up to work to do your job, despite the outcomes of what has occurred during this cycle, because we have a small window of opportunity to get these bills passed. Now, we've passed a lot of progressive legislation. I will say that. But what about progressive legislation for the black community who represents and supports the Democratic Party on so many levels? We have unequivocally provided our support to the Democratic Party. And so I think it is disingenuous that we cannot get policies done for the black community. So let's get these policies done, let's get our agenda done, and let's make sure that our people don't struggle no more. Thank you.
Thank you. We start at the state. Again, we want to recognize Representative Donovan McKinney, who will come back to him if he wants to have remarks. But I want to make, you want to have remarks?
Yeah.
Okay, come on.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to put it, I know some members didn't show up before fear of retribution. So give it up for him for showing up.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. For those who don't know, my name is Donovan McKinney, proud state representative out of the House 14th District. So that includes your Northeast Detroit, as well as in Macomb County, the majority of the city of Warren, and all of Centerline. I'm the first black person ever to represent Macomb County at the state level. Let me tell you what we had to be dealing with this past session, right? And it's not just about policy. This is about everyday citizens going up against the system and getting their butts kicked every single day. And so what I have to deal with in my community, because I have the 8-mile border, and I go all the way up to 13 Mile in my district, and guess what? In the city of Warren and in the county of Macomb, there's still areas that are considered sundown towns, sundown communities. And my people, the people I represent, it doesn't matter what's your skin color, they actually are afraid to step outside of their homes, to get in their vehicles, to be able to drive, to be able to pick up somebody, whether it's from school, whether it's going to work, whatever it may be. They are afraid of our police officers right now. And I don't know if you guys been watching the news and what's going on in the city of Warren.
Yep.
But y'all saw about that Warren police officer
Yep.
being charged with manslaughter.
One more to go.
Yeah, and that just happened. And guess what? They got so many issues going on in the city of Warren when it comes to police. And that people have been calling me afraid, saying, Donovan, we need to do something. So guess what we did? We dropped something called police accountability bills, a package of bills that needs to get done in the next month. Let me tell you how important this is. Right? We got officers, not all officers are terrible. Some of them are doing the good work, and we need to respect and honor them and give them props for what they do, putting their lives on the line every single day. But in reality, even those good officers are afraid to report what's going on day to day in those police departments, what's going on day to day in the activity of how these officers operate in our communities. And guess what we did? Part of this package is essentially gives them anonymity to report the bad that's going on. Because we got some bad apples, y'all. But the difference is between police officers and any other workforce or any other field profession across this nation. Guess what the difference is? Their jobs are protected. Even if they do wrong, even if they murder us, beat us, even if they chastise us, guess what? Their jobs are safe. And so this legislation allows opportunities to have that dialogue and to say, hey, you're going to be held accountable and you're going to be held to a higher standard because you're a civil servant and you serve the people first. Your job is to protect and serve. So that's one part of the legislation. Another one, my colleague, the amazing chairwoman, Senator Sylvia Santana, highlighted water affordability. Let me tell you guys this. If we get this legislation done in the next month, guess what? We'll be the first state in the history of the country to have a statewide water affordability program. The money is there, but we just need the policy to go along with it. And I got to give a shout out to this brother right here, Reverend Wendell Anthony, because he preaches this every single day that I hear him talk. It's not just about money. We did our thing on Appropriations Committee, Sylvia and I, and got to give a shout out to Sarah Anthony, first Black Senate Appropriations Chair in the history of Michigan. We did our thing when it comes to appropriations and bringing dollars back home to the Black community. But what we have failed at is the policy.
Yes.
Policy is what's going to dictate and what's also going to lead us to generational change. And people believing again in the system. And that's really what's the crux of all of this right now. People don't believe in us. That's why we lost the damn election.
That's right.
So this is our opportunity to deliver. And those are some policies. I'm on 40-something bill packages that need to get done in the next 3 weeks. Are y'all with us?
Yes.
We need y'all support. I need my colleagues in the House and the Senate. Show your bus up to work, y'all. We got some work to do. And our people are counting on us, man. Babies and communities are dying because of this. We have solutions right now that need to get done. So I really want to pass the mic. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. Again, my name is Donovan McKinney. I'm proud to be your representative, and God bless.
Give it up again. But those don't understand, when you have the approach chair in the room, you have the right person to make sure we get the job done. And we have a former approach chair, I think Harvey Santana, that I served with. We're going to have him come up shortly. But before we have him come, before we have our former members come that have worked on some of these bills, I want to make sure that we give an opportunity to our Wayne County Commissioner. I spoke with Chairwoman Alicia Bell coming in this morning. She wanted to make sure that Commissioner Jonathan Kinlock does give greetings on her behalf, and then we will come back to our former member, but now Councilwoman Mary Waters, to speak to some of these issues as well. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. The issues that have been brought before you are important issues. They're not just issues that were brought before this current legislature, but they're issues that have continued to plague our community down through the years. Myself, my colleagues on the Wayne County Commission, especially those commissioners who represent disenfranchised communities such as Detroit, call on the legislature to act on these most important bills. I have had conversations over the weekend, knowing that this press conference was called, with a number of leaders in the legislature as well as legislators, calling upon them to take action in the few days that we have left. So we stand united with our legislators, calling on this action to take place now.
Thank you so much, Wayne County Commissioner Jonathan Kinlock. I want to call up Council Member Mary Waters, who also served in the legislature, and we've been talking about these issues ongoing. A number of them impact criminal justice reform. We're going to hear from Harvey Santana. Auto no fault. I see Rep. Brian Banks over here, Dr. Brian Banks over here. He's going to speak to some of that, and some of our allies that are in the room on auto no fault, Donovan. Council Member, I want you to speak to these package of bills that we're dealing with as well. The business issues also. I see Mr. Barnes from Heritage Optical, who should be getting a piece of the pie from the $1 billion Michigan Democratic, from the MDHHS vision component. If you'll speak to some of these bills.
Ooh, so good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Listen, everything that my colleagues, former colleagues have said, I support 100%. You see, the mistake that Democrats make, when we have the gavel, we don't use it. You have to use that gavel right away. That is exactly what the Republicans do every single time. You cannot expect black people and Detroiters to continue to show up for your Democratic Party. You cannot expect that if you're not going to deliver for them. You know what? Detroiters, if you notice how they voted in this last election, more votes went to the Republican Party than ever before. And that's changing. So when you get the gavel, do what's right. Pass the bills that affect the people who are on your plantation, the Democratic plantation, because I'm telling you, it's absolutely critical that we do that. Now, I'm going to say to some of the state legislators right now who are not showing up for work. Show up for work. For the 6 years that I served there, I did not miss one day of work. Get there. Do what the people ask you to do. They elect you to the office. If you don't want to show up for work, don't run for office. Just don't do it. Retire. Do something else. That's what you have to do. And I want to uplift some of this legislation that's going on right now. I got to tell you, all of it is extremely important.
All of it.
All of it. All of it. But I remember when I was in the House, I laid the foundation for expungements. By the time that you lay the foundation, it is then time to go.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Term and limits hit me, and it was time to go. But give people an opportunity who have paid their dues to society. Let's bring them back in so they can become productive members of society. Some people have not committed a crime since the very beginning, and they are having issues with housing and jobs and so forth. Come on, Democrats, let's make that happen. Public Safety Trust Fund. Yes. We want to make sure that we can keep our community safe. And I don't have to tell you about this insurance, you all. People are still begging. Ms. Waters, can you do something about it? I said, you got to call on your state legislators. You know, they need to get this done. And I certainly see Dr. Banks here, and I know how hard he worked when he was there. I've got to acknowledge that. So thank you. Let's help get the word out to our community. People, show up for work. Please, show up for work, and let's get this thing done. Use that gavel for the last few days. Thank you.
Thank you. Our chairman from the Michigan Democratic Party Black Caucus is here standing with us. He is not feeling the absolute best. The vice chair, you want to say something? Okay.
I'm coming at it from a different perspective. Today I speak to truth to power. We have celebrated our wins, taking all branches of government, but what we must ask, what did black folks get? Here's the reality of our current governor's handed a Democratic operative $25 million no-bid grant. A Republican operative, Trump's ambassador, secured $180 million for a battery plant. My question remains the same. What did black folks get? While millions are rolling out, did we create any black millionaires? Did we strengthen the black family businesses, nonprofits, or communities? The answer is painful because the truth is we didn't. Instead of white progressives and others benefit more off of our work, the Michigan Democratic Party Black Caucus, along with Sherry, helped create a majority black district, and yet who gained the most? Not us. And let's talk about what is even more insulting after all of this. White women, white progressives abandoned a qualified black woman, my friend Kamala Harris. Now as we enter in a new critical moment, we're being asked to cave in again, this time to support a white male, someone who lost his bid for Congress, and next our party chair. My response is simple, hell no. We are in a lame duck session, and now it's time to demand courage. We must take our collective request to the government, say, take it or leave it. No more begging, no more waiting, no more accepting scraps. And to my black brothers and sisters in politics, it's time to shift, get off the pot. If you're not here to help black constituents, then get out of the way. If we deserve better, for one, we'll not stop fighting until we get it again. I'm tired of this shit. Bye.
Well, give it up again for the Michigan Democratic Party Black Caucus Chair, Keith Williams, the Honorable Keith Williams. Criminal justice reform, I see a number, they still giving it up. Y'all like that, huh? We're fired up in here today. And we're not just coming here to talk just today. I see former Commissioner, the Honorable Edna Bell in the House. You can come forward if you'd like to. Minister Troy Muhammad, thank you for you and your army being here this morning. There are so many others. I see Marla Sean Franklin in the House. I don't want to start calling names. Safari Brent, a number of you all who are putting in the work. Thank you for being here. I see Labor in the House as well. Adrian Bonds, thank you. I want to bring up former Rep. Harvey Santana to speak to some of the criminal justice reform bills. Again, as Councilmember Mary Waters pointed out, there are so many, we would be here all day if we talked about it. And these are not bills that we decided to put forward. These are bills that's on a table that if you got my e-blast, these are the package of bills that were submitted to the governor from the Michigan Legislative Black Caucus, and they have not gotten a response. So we're here today to support the Black Caucus by pushing forward these much needed policies. Harvey Santana, who now is with Wayne County, can speak to these bills and your organization. You please lift that up. Thank you. Harvey Santana.
Morning. It's been a while since I've done this, so forgive me. Politicians and microphones are not a great combination. I've been doing criminal justice work for 12 years. As a state lawmaker, as an appointee of Governor Snyder, as a Wayne County Sheriff, and now as a lobbyist for the Alliance for Safety and Justice, pushing public safety initiatives. In all of those years, I've always had to ask myself, as a rep or in any other capacity, why is it so hard for black folk just to get an inch? As a state rep, and I'm going to do a call to action, as a former state rep, the scariest call that I always got was from that little old lady that said, boy, let me tell you something. You came to my door, you knocked on my door, you asked me to vote for you. I did because I thought you were a strong and tough guy. You got one more round to fight. Get up and go fight. Don't sit there and let them beat up on you. Get up and go fight. So to all those people who ain't showing up to work, you got one more round. Get up and go fight. Don't give up. Don't find a convenient reason to quit because you can't get your amendment or your bill or whatever it is you're trying to use for trade bait. Now, I will say this. Criminal justice reform is not a partisan issue.
That's right.
Detroiters, we love the police. We love our Detroit police
That's
department.
what we do.
We love our police chief. Okay? So all this narrative about, you know, be tough on crime. Listen, let's be smart on justice.
Yeah.
Let's be smart on safety. We've already learned that this experiment of locking them all up and throwing away the key and not doing nothing with people while they're in there does not work.
Does not.
So when we talk about productivity credit and giving people an opportunity to earn a GED and get mental health treatment and learn skills and work their way towards redemption, don't be a blockade. Why is it so hard to get 56 votes just on our side? To move something like that is so beneficial, not just for Detroit, but the entire state of Michigan. So I'm asking lawmakers, stand up, do your job, do what's right. And with that, thank you, Sherry, and hopefully we can get something done in this lame duck session because it's been very frustrating watching this process unfold.
Thank you. Again, a number of issues. My former colleague, Senator Virgil Smith, served in the House and dealt with the issues of emergency management. Right now, DPS is still under the Financial Review Commission.
Yeah.
I believe there's still some obligation in relationship with the city of Detroit. Now, we heard the announcement that the mayor is not running again, but we do not want a situation when we get a black mayor that the emergency manager law is activated again. Come on up here, Chanel Jackson. We don't want the emergency manager law enacted again, so we end up with another emergency manager over the city of Detroit. We not sleep. We won't. Right? All right, East Side. We all in here. Come on, Carol Banks. We know we're awake. So we want to make sure that we talk about some of these issues when it comes down to the emergency management law that was used predominantly in African American communities. Virgil, if you can come up for a moment and just give us a brief overview of addressing the legislation that would get rid of that.
Good morning, everybody. Well, how do I follow that? She basically explained the issue at hand already. So, Representative Brenda Carter from Pontiac has introduced a bill to repeal the emergency manager law. Now, I served in the Michigan Senate under the Republican trifecta. That means that they hold the House, the Senate, and I have the governor's office. Now, they passed right to work. Now, the first thing that this legislature did when the Democrats got their trifecta is come in and repeal right to work. I voted against right to work. Now, we also had the emergency manager law at the same time. Now, they passed the first one. We repealed it at the ballot box. Thank you, Al Garrett. We
Yes.
miss you. We truly miss you. We repealed it at the ballot box, and they passed another one during the lame duck session of 2012. So, the city of Detroit has the Financial Review Commission to 2028. They are still here. They are still here. That law needs to be repealed now, and it's a travesty that we are here with 8 days left in session, and it hasn't even had a committee hearing. A committee hearing. Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you.
There's so much more that we can educate you all on. That issue and how it impacts DPS. Right now, DPS is having conversations. If you got my email, the 16.5 mills and 18 mills, there is question that will require legal decision on what the state owes. I was there fighting on for DPS survival when I was there. Myself, Rep Banks called for an audit. We didn't get the audit. Now we find ourselves right now in a position that compromises the finances of DPS. We cannot allow this to go without us lifting our voice for these last 8 days. And so I appreciate all of you. We know that this is not the most convenient location, but we wanted to be mindful of our council members who also have a committee hearing right now that they are missing from. So if they have to leave, I respect that, I do. I want to call up, I was going to say Congressman, I would love to call up Dr. former Rep. Brian Banks to speak to the auto no fault issues that he fought vehemently against, and then pass the baton to me to fight for as well. We struggled, we fought, we toiled, and the attacks were real, and you all know they were real. But I'm thankful that you stood tall and you fought anyway. Come on up and please recognize our guests that are here also regards to auto no fault. I see Devin.
Good morning, Detroiters. Good morning, Detroiters. Good morning. As my colleague has stated, I'm Dr. Brian Banks. I'm a former state legislator who served from 2013 to 2017. And let me say this to you all. While this is great, but it saddens my heart to hear that we have people who don't go to work and show up for work, and they've been elected by the people to serve the people.
We're going to call them out.
And so we're going to start calling out names, because one thing I prided myself on was 100% attendance and 100% voting record. I went to work every day in the minority to stand up and fight for what I believed in and for my people and for the quality of life being improved for all Michigan residents. The issue of auto no fault has been discussed in our Michigan Legislature for far too long. When I served in the legislature, we were in the minority. That was an issue that Sherry and I took up and we fought, not because we were not affected by it. My very first job was at AAA Michigan. So I understand auto no fault. In Michigan, when you go to law school, before you graduate, you got to take no fault law. And so I took that class. I understand it, but not only that, I too pay high car insurance. I remember in 2013, 2014, during the conversations, and Sherry and I were the only two that stood up and said, that's not going to work. That's not going to drive our insurance down. Detroiters deserve the same thing that they give out in West Bloomfield, Canton, Ann Arbor, Novi. We have continued to allow insurance companies to utilize non-driving factors to determine what our rates are. What does a credit score have to do with your ability to drive? What does your education level have to do with your quality of driving? In 2014, we found a white Caucasian male who lived in West Bloomfield, whose car insurance was cheaper than a 56 black male from Detroit. And the white male had 2 DUIs on his record. Make that make sense. Not only to mention, when you look at what the Democrats did when they got the majority, and when the Democratic governor took office, the first bill she signed into law was to gut our auto no-fault system and take away the quality of life and the benefits that's provided to those who experience an auto accident. As a result, many of those individuals were forced out of our rehabilitation centers, out of our nursing homes, and some of them have died. Because the quality of care that Michigan provides has diminished. I'm glad to see some of our allies standing up here today, but back then some of them wasn't on the same side that we were on this issue. And at the end of the day, our legislators that are there need to stand up. We should not be paying $500 and $600 a month for cars that are 9 and 10, 12 years old, when our counterparts in the suburbs are paying $150, $200. And so I urge our governor, because remember, Sherry and I were the first ones that took you around to the black community. I urge our legislators to get to work and vote on the bills. I'm not scared.
No lie.
They worked to get me out of office because I stood up on this.
That's right, sure did.
And at the end of the day, black folks, Detroiters, and anybody living in an urban community deserve better.
Yeah.
We deserve better. We deserve better. We deserve lower car insurance rates, affordable housing. We deserve better schools, child care, equity in our school funding. We deserve what everybody else gets. And what we're asking for right now is for you all to go out and contact your legislators.
Yes.
Some of them have coffee hours coming up. Go to their coffee hours and demand that they show up for work.
Yes.
If you're not going to show up for work, give your check back.
Yeah.
If you're not going to show up and do your job, give your check back. So can we count on you, Detroiters, to go out and ask our legislature, ask our governor to move these bills forward? We want justice now.
All right. No lies detected. Can the church say amen? I just want to make sure that anytime things like this happen, you start missing names, and I don't want to be disrespectful. Again, our business leader, I bought my glasses when I worked in this building, right in the Millender Center from Heritage Optical. I have on glasses from Heritage Optical right now. He's the only one that takes care of my eyes. Give it up for the Mr. George Barnes. Mr. Barnes, if you would like to speak to Senate Bill 317, you would like to speak? All right, give it up to him. Mr. George Barnes.
Thank you. There's a bill out, 317, Senate Bill 317. If this bill can get passed, guess what happens? Let's say the state puts out contracts and you aren't the lowest bidder. You have 7 days to change if you're headquartered in Michigan, and if the other company is not headquartered in Michigan, you can lower your price and win it. Let me say this. I'm the only African-American veteran-owned in North America that does what I do. I'm the only one that has a license in the state of Michigan and many other states. So what I'm trying to do for here in the state of Michigan, when all these contracts come out, the last one that came out for Medicaid, I remember back in 1975 when I opened up, no one took Medicaid. Medicaid kept me in business for 4 or 5 years. But now, there's a little bit of money to be made in Medicaid. I wasn't even allowed to bid on the vision portion of the Medicaid contract of 2.2 million lives. I even went down to the end and said, guys, let me at least administer the program. I'm not going to say VSP or Davis Vision or IMED. I'm okay with all of that. But let me have a little piece. I'm headquartered here. So Bill 317, that's for any kind of business. Just think, the governor, and I talked to her about it, she said it would explode in the state of Michigan if we could get that bill passed.
My Lord. When we have less than 6% of African American procurement in the state of Michigan for black people, less than 6%. My resolution when I served in the House was passed unanimously at the Civil Rights Commission. So I'm not talking about something I don't know. I pushed for black procurement opportunities and the research to find out just how many African American vendors we have. Less than 6% in the city of Detroit. I'm sorry? It's worse in Detroit. 17, I believe, 17 with the city. But don't quote me, 16 to 17. I want to recognize Forest Detroit. Thank you for showing up in record numbers. Give it up for Forest Detroit. Chris Ford. I'm proud to say I babysat this young man. I did. Give it up again for the Michigan Democratic Party Black Caucus. Come on. Muhammad's Mosque #1, the African American Alliance for Michigan, Black Marriage Movement. There are a number of our issues. Voter access for all. Give it up. Give it up for voter access for all. We worked hard. Please don't be dismayed by the numbers. We got to get our policies right to make sure we can get our turnout right. I don't know what LIP stands for, but I see y'all in the house, so give it up for LIP. I see Ted. Ted, I'm sorry, your last name escapes me. I know you ran for state board. I just want to recognize you properly. Ted Jones. Thank you. Give it up for Ted Jones. No, he's going to come back and give us a charge, because we're not just meeting here today. We got 8 days has been lifted up. We want to see some of y'all souls go to Lansing. He said souls to the polls. I want to see some of y'all souls at the Capitol to holler out and let them know what we expect. Quinn, give it up to our sister here from Forest, Detroit. Yes, okay, yes. Give it up for Lisa House, former state representative. Give it up for former state representative Chanel Jackson. I saw her son. Okay, there she is. Y'all could have came a little closer. And we want to have representation from Force. Come on up. Yeah, Leah, I'm sorry. Come up and give remarks as well. Thank you. Y'all helped fill up this room. You all, I just tell you, all of our community organizations, thank you.
So, House Bill 4606, 4605, Senate Bill, I think is 58, would ensure sustainability for community violence intervention, which in Detroit we call shot stoppers. We've been able to reduce violence in the city of Detroit through programs that invest in the spirits of our broken community members. That leverages the strengths of community members that otherwise may not have sustainable careers. And we've been able to fund them to be the front end of things like important mental health opportunities, job opportunities, mentorship, opportunities for entrepreneurship. We need this important infrastructure to continue. And there is no better time to say that we need this written in legislation permanently. We are in the fight for the spirit of our community, the very spirit of our community. When we look at who we elected somebody who grabs, but y'all know I'm not elected, right? Grabs vaginas. They are pro-pedophilia. Rapists, right? The person that we have coming into office is abominable, and we voted our values on election day, family. So we need to go out and develop programs that speak to the hearts of people, not just in urban communities, but in white communities, right? We need to work on our hearts as a country. We need to expand mental health throughout the country, right? When we see people going into places and bombing or shooting up places where people's families are eating or watching movies, it is preposterous. This is the direction that we are going in is preposterous. And we need to address this with structural solutions. And on the back end, on the back end, we need to develop programs that alter the hearts of our people.
Thank you. Mike over there in that bag somewhere. Y'all know I don't have a staff anymore, so a lot of this we had to pull together, and thank you, Evan, and thank you, Don, for your help, and all of those that are, again, in this room. If you all find the mic, we're going to have Reverend Anthony give the charge. Pastor Mo, I see you in the house. Thank you so much for being here. We all have to carry the same message. I see Commissioner Darrell Woods in the house. Commissioner Darrell Woods. Minister Troy Muhammad, if you want to come up and recognize some of your brothers, if you want to come up, Minister Troy doesn't want to speak. Calvin Mann, some names escape me. I'm very sorry if I don't call your name. But my heart laments for what we're seeing. I'm just happy to see y'all. And for those of you all that can, after we leave here today,
today, I'm gonna go to a black business over in Eastern Market. Cutter's one of my favorite spots. And we could talk about this a little bit more. Do we got a mic yet? Mic check, mic check. Is it? I don't hear it. Well, Reverend Anthony, he speak like me. He don't need no microphone. But we want to make sure that you all understand that the charge is a few things here. We want you to call on your legislators. We want you to call on your governor. Don't just leave here today and say it was a great meeting. We're not just for meetings. We're for action. And then we're hoping to organize. We don't have the funding to do it, but we want to organize some folks to go up to Lansing and hold them accountable to make sure that they do address the package of bills that has been before them. So we're going to close it out, allow Reverend Anthony to close it out today. Again, thank you, Devin Hutchins, for being here. Somebody who stood by my side, Brian's side, the entire Democratic caucus side when it's come to auto no fault. But we're in this together. There are no big eyes and there are no little U's. No egos. We're all here together for a common cause. And I pray that our ancestors are proud today of the work that we're doing today. Thank you again, Reverend Anthony. Let's give it up for the Reverend Wendell Anthony to close us out with a charge.
Thank you, sir. The charge has already been given. The question is when we're going to honor it and deal with it in this spirit of season of Thanksgiving. That's right. If we really want to have a Thanksgiving past these bills, right. If we really want to be thankful, then do your job. Yeah. Monday morning and preachers don't go together. But I'm still on my black job. That's right. And that job is to be a part of that which uplifts our community. That's right. You've already been given the charge. There's very little that I can say or add to what has been said. Minister Troy's presence speaks for it. That's right. Your presence speaks to the issues. What has been outlined by the legislators and the former legislators and community groups speaks to the charge. Tyranny and democratic republics do not proceed in the same way. However, it ignores the body and goes straight for the soul. That was uttered years ago by a gentleman by the name of Alexis de Tocqueville, who came to America to do a study of democracy. And he looked at us and he said that which articulated our flaws as well as those which articulated our benefits. That's right. On November the 6th, when we woke up, if you ever went to sleep, we felt like we had been in a nightmare. We wanted to shake it off, but we can't shake it off because it is the reality of our time. And a lot of people are depressed. A lot of people are cynical now. A lot of people say it don't matter what we do. How can we fight in Michigan and elsewhere for bills or police accountability and for bills that would enable returning citizens who have one felony on their record that has been expunged or eliminated? And we got a president of the United States who got 34 felonies. And he got a house. And he got benefits. Come on now. And he got everything. And we struggling to help us to get some things. You see, it's not about red or blue as a color. We can flip that in 2024, 2028. Right. It's about policy. Come on. Right. It's about your policy and your programs, people. It's about what your policy is going to do for health, for education, for returning citizens, for water affordability, for auto insurance. It's about those who are enacting the policy for us. And whether or not you believe in the system doesn't matter. It's the system we got right now. Right. And it's the system that you're dealing with. When you walk out of here, this is the system that determines whether or not we can be right here. And that we're in the position to be here. And I hope that those in the media, because y'all got a lot to deal with, and I know y'all ain't the ones that's going to cut it up and edit it for the news this afternoon. But get the best of what we've been talking about. That's right. Get the substance of what we're saying. We're saying pass the bills now. We're saying legislators, don't sleep on this. We are saying that you have an opportunity on the other side of January. It's done.
It's too late.
Do it now. Every time I go to Lansing, I tell them, you got the power in your hand. Use it. Power means nothing if you don't exercise it. This man is not even in office yet. And he's exercising power just by his presence and what he's putting out there. We have the majority now. You don't have it on the other side of January. Use it now. Do it now. Get up. Get busy. And pass these bills. Because they're not just for us, they're for your children and our children's children. And so we need you to be who you are and what we expected you to be. And so we're simply saying that in 2024, this is our project now. We don't have to wait until 2025. With Project 2025, we want to do Project 24 and do more right now. Let's do more right now. Let's get this stuff passed. And as I close, remember this. January the 20th, 2025, we will inaugurate a tyrant. We will inaugurate a criminal. We will inaugurate a demagogue. Somebody that wants to put us back on the plantation. I don't know about y'all, but I ain't going. I ain't going. But it's the same day as the birthday. The drum major for justice and freedom. Democracy. Isn't that something? Two dynamics at play. We're inaugurating a tyrant, but we're celebrating a freedom fighter. The question is, what would Dr. King do at a moment like this? Come on now. You don't even have to ask the question. Look at what he did. He went up against Bull Connor. He went up against Jim Clark. That's right. He went up against Strom Thurmond and Jesse Helms. He went up at a time when we only had 3 black Congress people and no black senators. In January, we will have 60 black Congress people. Come on now. And 5 black senators. 2 of which are women who were just elected. That ain't nothing to sneeze at. We got to use our power. We just elected the first black woman to sit on the Michigan Supreme Court. That's a victory, y'all. Sherry, that's a victory. We did that. And we can do more. And so if you hold your head down, think we can't do nothing, don't do that. Hold your head up. In the words of my grandmama, every knee. Whenever we came in the house and our heads would hang down low, she knew something was wrong. She would say to us, hold your head up. Stand up and fly right. I ain't never forgot those words. Hold your head up. Stand up and fly right. In the words of Mother Harriet Tubman, we got to keep going. Amen. We got to keep going. If you hear the dogs, come on now, in the woods, keep going. Keep going. Keep going. If you see the torches, burning in the wilderness, keep going. If you hear them talking about you and calling you all kind of things, and out your name and shouting and roaring at you, keep going. Keep going. Don't stop. Keep going. If you want a taste of freedom, keep going. Legislators, keep going. People in Detroit, keep going. People in Michigan, keep going. People in America, keep going. Don't stop. Keep going. God bless.
Thank you all for being here, and I heard the call to action. You all have heard the call to action, so let's keep going. So we'll take any questions at this time. Yes, sir.
Tim Moore, Detroit IPTV. Detroit is bigger than the next 9 biggest cities in the state of Michigan. Why can't we leverage that power?
That's what we're doing today.
Combined.
That's what we're doing today. That's what we're doing today. I mean, there's not a whole lot left. Virgil, you want to speak to that?
Yeah.
Broke us up. One of the problems that we've had is the redistricting fight. So thank you to Sherry K. Dagnagel. She led the fight to help us redraw our lines. Now, they basically cookie cutter the whole city of Detroit, House and Senate, to over 20 districts. And we fought against numerous odds and redrew the State House and the State Senate. Now, in 226, we will get a chance to have, so a couple of our state senators are termed out. In Senate District 3, and Senate District 1, we will have 2 new senators out of the city of Detroit. So we will remake our delegation because we have been splintered.
What can Joe Casey do? He's the Speaker of the House.
Use his power.
Use his power.
Use his power.
So are you saying he hasn't been using his power?
I'm not saying that, but we have 3 weeks left. He needs to leverage his power.
Some of his colleagues need to stop working against it.
And everybody need to show up to work because we only got 56.
Stop working against it.
This gentleman right here.
Yes.
Colin Jackson from Michigan.
Could you project your voice, please?
Sorry, I'm feeling the way that you like.
I'm sorry.
Colin Jackson from Michigan Public Radio Network. What has been going on though in the state legislature where these bills haven't happened? You know, there was discuss of kind of tensions between black lawmakers and progressive lawmakers. And a lot of the things that I'm hearing from today from you guys that you want, I've also heard from white progressive lawmakers that they want as well. So where has the hold up been?
I think the challenge has been the election cycle. I think that we have not leveraged our power initially when we introduced a lot of bills when we took majority. Now we have the opportunity to get the bills done. The election process is over, so we can't utilize the messaging of not taking up certain policies because of just because of messaging or the political environment. Now is the time to do those bills. We have no excuses anymore.
Yeah. So if I may, and I thank the senator for the response inside the House. I'm outside the House. As a former legislator, we feel betrayed in the community that these bills haven't been taken out. I, every term, introduce a bill for the inclusion of African American history in our schools. And it's not to force every school to teach African American history, but it is to select a commission that will go away after 2 years. The commission would determine what the benchmark should be, what the content should be. Rep. Helena Scott has that bill now, and they wouldn't even allow her to have a hearing. And so I have questions with a trifecta Democratic legislature and governor as to why African American history is left without a hearing when we've had every other nationality to receive their legislation to move forward. So I say right now, again, African Americans feel betrayed by this process. I know I do. So there is no excuse as to why we have the last 8 days and they have not respected us enough to take up legislation that properly lifts up and supports our community.
Right. Yeah. When we talk about that betrayal, when you talk with Speaker Tate or Leader Grinks or Governor Whitmer, what answers have you?
I have not gotten a response when I've reached out. I know the Michigan Legislative Black Caucus, they are all not here today, but the package of bills that were linked in my email, they submitted those. It's my understanding they submitted those 2 months ago, and they have not gotten a response. We're hopeful today that we're applying some pressure that will give them the response that they need. Thank you. I saw Elder Mo. You had a question or a comment? A quick declaration? Okay, come and make a quick declaration. Was there any more questions? Oh, wow. And from the media, that's what I meant. From the media. The rest of y'all gonna have to catch me at Cutters. The media. Anybody from the media? I'll stick around. Are you from the media?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead. Mears.
Sam Schreiber, First News. What would be your message to Governor Whitmer if she were to consider pocket vetoing any of this?
Well, my personal message is to understand that we're not going to forget. We're not going to forget. It's high time that these issues are addressed to provide some relief. We've been supportive of their agenda. Now it's time to take up the black agenda because we're not going to forget.
Right. Another question.
Yes.
Does the police accountability package need to get passed by the Community Violence and Public Safety Fund?
We have Commissioner.
No, we just need to get it up for a vote. So what's the problem is right now, people try to compare this trifecta back to 2018's trifecta under Governor Snyder, but they had 63 Republicans in the House. We only have a one-seat majority in both chambers. The issue is that probably 90–95% of Democrats support all these bills. The Republicans aren't willing to play ball and give us some votes to get some things over the finish line. So I'm calling on not just our Democratic trifecta, I'm calling on the Republicans to stop playing games, vote your conscience, and vote and do the right thing.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times stuff gets held up because you might have one or two people based off their district can't vote for that. However, Republicans, they can vote for it too. So it's not just us showing up to work, they have to show up to work too. Just want to put that out there.
Yes. And all we're asking for, don't give us the excuse that we don't have enough.
That's right.
Put it on the board.
Yeah.
Then we know who our friends are.
That's right.
Put it on the board. We're not asking you to count the 56 for us. We can count.
That's it.
Put it on the board.
That part.
Okay? Then we'll know who's with us and who's against us.
That's right.
Any more media questions? Media. Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Bert Bridges from the Bert Bridges Network. I'm here live here. I just wanted to say thank you so much for your all representation.
Thank you.
I'm a young person, demographic.
Your question. Thank you.
My direct question is, what is it that the young people in the city of Detroit, what is it that we can do to play a part in showing our support in our drive and being able to even build this movement, being able to connect with the young people?
Thank you. I'm hoping to have an opportunity to meet with the LIT movement to learn more about what. Okay, awesome. Thank you. I'm glad to, so I'm already connected. Didn't know it. Enforce Detroit. Make sure you're part of some of these organizations. I'm Detroit Educator on Instagram and Twitter. I'm going to Cutters when I leave here. We need to have some conversations because it's the young people who are not beholden to the system that can lift their voices most. Thank you. Right. All right, last word, Elder Mo.
I want to just say real quick that understand that these bills are not just the bills sitting on Capitol Hill. These bills are tied to families, lives, murders, caskets, education, mental wellness, poverty, brutality, sexual assault, freedom, financial freedom. And we want to make a declaration to be heard around the world. This is for the ones who ain't here and that's here. Say it loud with me. Keep it real.
Keep it real.
Pass the bill.
Pass the bill.
Keep it real.
Keep it real.
Pass the bill.
Pass the bill.
Keep it real.
Keep it real.
Pass the bill.
Pass the bill.